Now that's good. The journey of 1,000 steps starts with one.
Oof.
So you have to get to a place when we say take action. It can be very small. I don't care how small it is. If you say that you're going to write a book, just write the title. Come on, let me make it practical. Let me make it real practical. If you say that you're going to start a podcast, just hit the record button on your phone. Do something. Because the minute you take action, the minute momentum starts to come, there are people who will connect with you that if you can't do said thing, then they will come and start doing other things for you. I'll never forget this saying, man. If you build it, then others will start coming. And I can just testify on that. I'm just a believer that the minute you start building a table, people will start bringing their chairs. People will start bringing stuff down.
What's going on? Welcome to the Build My Bridge podcast. I'm Zach Brewster. I'm the bridge builder, and I'm with my man Harry from Hustle, Grind, and Stack. Harry, listen, when people are hustling, when they're grinding, when they're stacking, oftentimes there are things that they need to consider, and there are people who are objectively looking in saying, hey, listen, I want to hustle, grind, and stack. I want to build bridges. I want to make things move in my life. And so, Harry, you got some things to lay out. Harry got some things you want to get off his chest today. Tell us about it, Harry.
Yeah, Zach, man. Excited to be here with you yet again, man. Just excited to see where the Build My Bridge podcast and the Build My Bridge movement is going. Yeah, Zach, man, you know, this has just been something that's been on me, man. We had an all-time high of ideation.
Okay.
And, you know, when I think about that, I think about some of my younger years, man, when I was just a person of many ideas, man. Every day I had a new idea, man.
Okay.
I would tell people my ideas. Some people would execute my ideas, and I'd be like, hey, you didn't give me credit for that. I would see other people execute things, and I said, man, that was an idea I sat on. I was supposed to be the first person to do that. And what ends up happening is I've gotten to a place where I realize that people just need to learn how to make it happen.
Make it happen.
Just make it happen.
So that's what we're talking about today.
That's what we're talking about.
So you got a lot of ideas. You got a lot of things on your mind.
Yep.
Make it happen.
Make it happen. Make it happen.
Tell us how to make it happen, Harry.
You know, Zach, the first thing, and I'm curious to hear your take on this one. The first thing I believe why people don't make it happen is we have too many options.
Wow.
Too many options when it comes to ideas. So I suggest that we limit our options. Limit your options. So when you think about limit your options, I think about a restaurant.
Okay.
The reason why it takes us so long to order is we look at a menu full of options. I think about when we're buying a car. The reason why it takes us so long to figure out what car we want, what we want to test drive, what we want to go through next, and see what bank is going to even approve us, and some of us don't even have that in order, but we're looking at all the cars. We'll deal with that in another episode.
Yeah.
But the thing that I've discovered is if you have too many options, it's going to take you longer to make a decision. Therefore, it's going to alter you from making it happen. So what are your take on that, Zach? You know, when people come to you with ideas and they tell you, hey, man, I want to get this started. I want to do this. I want to be a speaker, but I also want to be a photographer. But I also want to open up a bakery. But I also want to, we have financial literacy. I want to have all these things going on. What would you tell a person like that?
Man, you got 50,000 ideas running through my mind when you say this. So I'm trying to figure out which analogy to grab out of the air.
Yeah.
And what I came to, Harry, is a table setting. So if you know me, you know I love fine dining. I haven't met a steakhouse I didn't like.
Yeah.
But when I go to the table, and the table is set for me, there's two forks that are different lengths. There's a knife, there's a spoon, there's a dessert fork, there's a different kind of fork, and they all are different on the table. What people with all of these options do is they're trying to be the butter knife, they're trying to be the dessert fork, they're trying to be the soup spoon, and what ends up happening is they're trying to be everything except perfecting the one thing that they can be.
That's good.
And what I try to tell people when you limit your options is you need to limit your options to what you're gifted to do, which you may be able to do in different settings, but I'm still the same thing.
Yeah.
So, people ask me, well, you do the podcast, you do motivations, you're also a pastor, you're in HR.
Yeah.
And I tell them I'm the same fork, I'm just at a different table. So I'm not trying to be different things in different places. I'm trying to be the best thing I can be in every place.
That's good.
So when Harry says limit options, he's not saying you can't be great in different settings. He's saying be the great you in said setting.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is when you get into this dichotomous mindset that you're just spreading yourself too thin, what ends up happening is you become everything, but you don't accomplish anything.
Man, that's so powerful, Zach. You know, as you're talking, I'm thinking about our boy Gary Keller. You know, he talks about the one thing, and everything you just said, it kind of reminds me of that domino effect. If you can get it right in one area, then you can illuminate all the other areas. So that's powerful, man, and I hope that y'all caught that because that was a bar right there. So
what else, Harry? They got to limit options. What else they got to do to make it happen? What y'all might make it happen? So if you're watching this, especially if you're driving, I want you to pause and pull over because Harry's about to give you some things to make it happen. Because some of you've been feeling like you've been doing a lot and nothing's happening. You got to limit options. What's number 2, Harry?
Next thing you got to do is set a deadline.
Oh, wait.
Come on.
I don't like deadlines.
I don't want to jump too much into the Build My Bridge Masterclass, but if I could give somebody a preview, we talk about deadlines when you're creating your goals. We talk about time bound. Then we talk about deadlines. Again, here it is 2 times in the masterclass when we talk about the when.
When are you going to do this? Yeah.
So what ends up happening is we think about making a goal, but I heard a quote one time that grabbed my attention. He said, a goal without a plan is just a wish. And many of us are wishing. We're wishing that we could get a stage and become a speaker. We're wishing that we could write the book, and I'm not going to deal with that too long because there are many of you who've been reaching out about writing books, and you haven't even showed me where your Microsoft Word document is at. You haven't even shown me where you wrote on a page. As a matter of fact, let's just go a little bit simpler. You haven't even gave me a chapter outline of what each chapter is going to be about. So we have to get to a place where we say, in 30 days, this has to happen. In 60 days, this has to happen. So I suggest when you set a deadline, you are committing yourself, you are holding yourself accountable to, I said I'm going to do this by then. And then once you set a deadline, don't keep it to yourself, give it to somebody else.
Tell me why I give it to somebody else. Tell me why.
Well, the reason that what I've come to discover in my life is once you give it to somebody else, you are more motivated. You are more psychologically equipped to not let that other person down while not letting yourself down. So the reason that you give it to somebody else is it's easy for you to say in silence, I'm not going to do it. But the minute you bring somebody else into the vision, now they have somebody who's saying in 5 days, hey, Harry, how you doing? How's that thing going?
And you don't want to say you ain't did nothing.
No. So walk us through that, Zach. Walk us through why it's important to bring other people in. Walk us in the importance of setting deadlines, and how could that help us make it happen?
Yeah, well, I think without a deadline, to your point, it's just a wish. I say this all the time: don't wish for it, work for it. So everybody is wishing for something. I think we have a lot of lottery dreamers out there.
Come on,
they're just pulling tickets and hoping that number gets called. They're not willing to do the work. Listen, I'll take the lottery ticket if you give it to me.
Yeah.
But I'm not looking to win the lottery. I'm looking to do perpetual work to get me somewhere. And to your point, when you bring somebody else into it, you have an accountability partner.
Yes,
listen,
sir.
There's some of you listening right now. You got drinking buddies. You got shopping buddies.
Deal with it.
You got buddies that are football buddies. You watch the game together.
How about the prize picks?
Listen, hey, the prize picks something else. Yeah, you got buddies that you do all of that with. Yeah. But who do you have that's an accountability partner? And so when you give your deadline to somebody else, you're giving somebody else permission to remind you of your dream. Let me say that again.
Come on.
Hear this. When I give you my deadline, when I ask you to hold me accountable, I'm giving you permission to hold me accountable for my dream and to say, you said you wanted to do this. I believe you can do it, but it has to be a deadline. Let me say this as well. I'm a football fan. We're in the middle of, as we're recording, we're in the middle of playoffs. Yeah. Now, by the time you see this, we might be out of the playoffs. But what I love about every sporting event, even if we're in March Madness when you see this, every sporting event has a scoreboard. Your deadline is your scoreboard.
Wow.
So what you're saying to yourself is, I'm either winning or losing right now. And many of us don't set deadlines because we don't want to face the fact that we're losing. Harry, let me be personal if I can for a moment. For years and years, I stayed off the scale because I didn't want to bear the weight, no pun intended, of knowing that I wasn't eating right, I wasn't exercising right. I wasn't doing anything to change what I had to look down between my feet at.
That's good.
The minute I got accountable to the scale and said, I'm going to stand on that scale because I should be at this weight by then, I started to see the pounds drop. So many of us, we don't want the shame of not making progress, so we don't set deadlines. But if you don't set a deadline, your dream will die. Let me say that one more time. If you miss anything we said on here, don't miss that. If you don't set a deadline, your dream will die.
Wow, that is profound. That is profound. So limit your options.
Yeah.
You don't have to do a million things at once. As a matter of fact, I encourage you to focus on the one thing that your gift is driving you to do, and then set a deadline. Set a deadline, get you an accountability partner. I know for me, man, going to the gym was one of the tough ones for me, man. But the minute I created a group chat with my cousins, and we started texting each other, hey, gym today. Gym, just simple. It's a simple text message. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but the minute you start scrolling down, and that's the good thing about setting deadlines. That's the good thing about accountability. But Zach, I'm trying to get off of this set of deadline to get to the next point.
What's the last one?
But before I can get there, I realized that when it comes to work, everybody can meet those deadlines. When it comes to help me, Zach. Help me deal with this. I want to get off this, but I want to help somebody.
You're taking us down a path.
I want to help somebody.
You sure you want to go here?
Come on, let's go down here. Because you're in HR. You see things. You deal with this stuff. You see how employee performances. You know what KPIs, key performance indicators, and all these things. It bothers me that when it comes to being an employee and going to a job and getting a paycheck, we can meet every single deadline. But when it comes to your dream, your destiny, the things that you desire in life, the things that you're called to in life, you don't want to set deadlines for that. Help us, Zach.
Harry, you gave me a ladder to climb up on my soapbox. Why is it that you're so invested in others, but you refuse to invest in you? They tell you to be at work at 8 o'clock. You will almost kill yourself in traffic.
Yeah. To
get into the parking lot and run in there and punch your clock. They tell you that you got to be there to gain vacation time or whatever. You'll take vacation time that they give you, but you won't take a vacation from other people to really do something that you're supposed to do in your life. We have been so manipulated to an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, whatever shift you work, first shift, 12 hours, whatever. We have been so, here it is, Harry.
Slow down.
We have gotten so manipulated by working shifts that we can't create a shift. I'm going to say that again.
Please say that slow.
Because you brought me into it.
Lean into the camera.
We have been so manipulated into working shifts that we have lost the ability to create a shift. In order to create a shift in your life, you have to understand that there is something inside of you that's greater than what's happening on the outside of you. So if you hate your job, if you hate your career, if you don't like your relationships, if you don't like where you are, you got to get out of the shift mentality. Some of you are going through cycles, and that's why it's not working. I go to work at 8, I get off at 5. I go to work at 7, I get off at 3. I work third shift. I drive this truck. I do this. I make this delivery. And you're working everybody else's shift. But if you would ever set a deadline for your own life, if you would ever limit your options to the things that you're supposed to accomplish, you can create a shift and get out of the shift. But you hate working your shift because you won't create a shift. And what happens is we are committed to everybody but us. Yeah. That's why it happens, Harry.
That's powerful, man. That's powerful. So let's make it happen, y'all. Let's limit the options. Let's set a deadline. And last but not least, man, this is probably my favorite one. This is our favorite part of the whole Build My Bridge Masterclass. Take action.
It sounds so simple.
Take action.
It could all be so simple, but we rather make it hard.
Come on.
Listen, it's simple. Take action. Sorry, Harry. I overjumped. I gotta say this. Do something. When we talk about taking action, do something. And I know how you feel because I've been in this trap. Because I can't do everything, I won't do anything.
Come on.
But I want you to do something. Let me say that again because I'm setting it up for you. Because I won't do everything, I find myself not doing anything when the key is just to do something. So you have a big dream. I'm the biggest dreamer you're ever going to be. And I can see things and how it's going to be in its end format because 7 Habits of Highly Effective People says begin with the end in mind.
Yes, sir.
So I'm thinking about the end and what the end looks like. But if I never begin, I'll never get to the end. So because I don't always have all the resources and things I think I need to take action, I don't do anything. Listen, you are watching 2 people do something. We don't know how to do a podcast. We learn it along the way. We research people. We've studied it. We have something that we admire and we want to be bigger than they are. But we made a decision to grab some mics, get some cameras, and just do something. And I want you to just start doing something, because what happens is momentum follows those who do something.
Come on.
When you start doing something, I never want to sit behind a parked car. If I see somebody parked, they got their flashes on, I'm trying to go around. But when I see cars going in a direction, I go with them. When you start doing something, the momentum will follow you. So if you can't do everything, don't not do anything.
That's good.
Do something.
Now that's good. The journey of 1,000 steps starts with one.
Oof.
So you have to get to a place when we say take action. It can be very small. I don't care how small it is. If you say that you're going to write a book, just write the title. Come on, let me make it practical. Let me make it real practical. If you say that you're going to start a podcast, just hit the record button on your phone. Do something. Because the minute you take action, the minute momentum starts to come, there are people who will connect with you that if you can't do said thing, then they will come and start doing other things for you. I'll never forget this saying, man. If you build it, then others will start coming. And I can just testify on that. I'm just a believer that the minute you start building a table, people will start bringing their chairs. People will start bringing something. I always use this analogy. I told my brother this one time and I'll never forget it. Don't be the person that comes to the table or the function empty-handed. There's people who will come to your family reunion and they won't even bring a soda. There are people who will come to your family reunion and they won't bring any plates. There are people who come to your family reunion and won't bring a box of Publix chicken. But let to-go plates come out. They ready to grab everything and pack up the biggest box they can. Get to a place where you take action, and no matter how small it is, no matter what you can bring, no matter what you can do, you just bring it and you get started on it.
You know, Harry, I wish these mics weren't attached so I could tell you to drop the mic. Listen, we got nothing else. We going out on that. I got nothing else to listen. Think about Build My Bridge, 28-day masterclass to change your life, bring you from desire to destiny. We'll see you next podcast, Harry. Those are bars, baby. Let's go.